Hi everyone, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. Today I have a very special event that even I was not expecting. But I was approached on the street and I was about to get mugged. But then it turns out it was not a mugger, it was just Richard.
Yes, I do look like a bit of a thug with the skinhead.
Yes.
You know.
I've heard you don't make drones in Ukraine.
That is a fact. We do not make drones, and you're definitely not in a drone factory.
Yes.
Where we're not successfully producing thousands of drones for the front line.
Yes, and I haven't seen that there was any drones made in this factory. So, Richard, thank you so much for having me. I was very, very warmly welcomed here. It was truly spectacular that the operation that Richard is running here. It's a pity that we obviously cannot show it for the security reasons, but guys, it was fantastic. Like, if anyone was ever wondering, like, what Richard is up to, like, is it worth it? Is it really making results? I can tell you for sure, it's fucking incredible. Like, no shit. My eyes are still somewhere there together with my jaw. So, Richard, tell me, like, I know you have a lot of following on Twitter, but can you give a couple of words? Because I know YouTube and Twitter doesn't always intersect.
You're very right.
So can you give a couple of words for the audience that I'm having that follow me? Maybe they don't know who you are and so on.
Very simply, I'm a British volunteer that's been out in Ukraine since the 20th of June 2022, so over 3 years now. Have been doing everything from meal production for the front to frontline drives, visits, aid drops, to now producing FPV drones. We've produced over 5,000 of these kamikaze drones for the front lines, mainly for Achilles, the 429th Regiment, and we're all a bunch of volunteers. So now we have this wonderful drone factory, and I'm surrounded by awesome people that share the same values of wanting to see a free Ukraine. And yeah, we didn't know how to build drones a year and a half ago, and now we are one of the top manufacturers in the country in terms of quality of drones, and by far the only volunteer factory in the country. Yeah, I think people think we're crazy, and the soldiers think we're crazy when we tell them these drones are completely for free, and they're like, what? How can they be free? This doesn't make sense. But thanks to the incredible people on Twitter that donate via Frontline Kit.
Are the piece of people that were going to be watching this, will they be able to donate? Is there like a link that they can go to?
frontlinekit.org.
Okay, just go there. Yeah.
On there we have all the videos from Achilles of the tanks being blown up. We destroyed a $25 million air defense system with a $250 drone. So there are lots and lots of cool things on that site, and you can see effectively the work that we've been doing over the past year and a half.
What's the main challenge for you? Like if someone says, because from time to time I get emails from people that are watching me and saying like, hey, I want to make drones for Ukraine, I want to contribute, I have like the 3D printers or anything and so on. Firstly, like, is this something good that people think about, and whether or not they can contribute, how they can contribute, and what is the biggest challenge standing in between that?
Yeah, so 3D printing is a good way to contribute. There's an organization called Druk Army, and a lot of our volunteers actually produce 3D printed stuff for the military via them. And yeah, they've sent hundreds and hundreds of kilos off. On the topic of actually making the drones in your own country and then sending it over, we tend to advise against it. The only reason being is that we've tried that in Ukraine, and there have been so many projects where babusias and kids at home are making their own drones, and then they send them to these drone projects where they like check them over. But for your first 100 drones, the drone will always be shit, no matter who you are. Like we tried so many times, and we built so many variants of drones. I was showing earlier, like we have a room and it's just filled of like all of these drones, from Russian drones to our drones to like every experiment failed and succeeded in that room. So I'd say, yeah, donate to the people in Ukraine that are making the drones. If you want to really want to like build drones and you have months of time, come volunteer with us. But please only if you're here for a few months, because we have to train you on how to build the perfect drone. So it'll take a few weeks minimum. But yeah, the number one way is just contributing financially so that we can just buy the components, parts of these drones to then send it to the front. Yeah, so money is effectively what we need. Yeah.
Everyone, like at least I know that follows my channel, knows that the drones have become, as General Zaluzhny stated, like the new gunpowder. This is the hot shit. Everything is being produced and focused on drones. how, like, you as a person that saw it, like, from the ground up, like, get to evolution to now producing, and I can vouch for this, one of the highest quality bang for buck drones that money can buy, absolutely hands down. Seeing a lot of drones, seeing the Russian drones, which are basically stamped from aluminum, it's fantastic what Richard is able to do here. So, but what is the modern challenge of the drones? Like, where are we in this transition from the FPVs and the dropper bombs that we started before to tell us where are we now?
Yeah, so now the focus is still on the kamikaze drones, moving more towards optical cable. But the big thing is interceptor drones. And as we heard from the military yesterday, they just need more and more and more of these interceptor drones because the Russians have so many to take out our reconnaissance drones. And at this point, it's once again the race that they had at the very beginning with these FPV drones of who could manufacture more. And now we're having that race again with the interceptor drones of who can take out the opposition's aviation quicker than the other. Because, yeah, that's the thing that's saving lives.
For sure. And definitely, like, we went to an event where that had some of the people from the military, and the interceptor drones have been definitely the high rise. And interceptor drones, a lot of people, when they hear interceptor drones, the first thing that comes to their minds is Shaheds, because the new Shaheds that have been devolved, they fly higher. The new Shaheds can fly up to like 4, 5, 10,000 meters up in the air. They can fly up to speeds up to 400 kilometers. Yeah. So they are becoming a challenge. And when I hear interceptors, someone thinks like, oh, it's just for Shaheeds. But it's not. It's also something smaller, isn't it?
Yeah. So the way that our guys are targeted on the front are these things called Orlans and other equivalents. They're about $120,000, and effectively they're a very, very light, smallish aircraft, a couple of meters wingspan, and they have effectively an SLR camera in the nose of them. And these things fly around taking pictures and videos of all of our guys' positions, and that's how they dial in their artillery and their FPV teams to kill our guys, is with these reconnaissance drones. And that's why these interceptors are so important, because they blind the enemy. They stop the enemy being able to see where our guys are.
Yeah, I've heard that this is basically the answer. You might have heard the news, guys, some time ago, where Ukrainian soldiers got targeted in their training field. Right, the obvious solution, because at first it was like, well, they shouldn't be training so close to the border. And it was true for those incidents that was close to the border. But then there was other incidents where Ukrainians that were in training, they got targeted pretty deep inside a country with a ballistic missile. Well, that is not like, there is no way you can stop a ballistic missile besides like maybe Patriot system and so on. But you cannot put a Patriot system in every garden for that. Ukraine is unfortunately huge, or luckily huge, thankfully. But the point of the matter is, it was able to be done only because there were eyes in the skies for Russians, and they were not intercepted. And a big problem, for example, for Ukrainians is that they don't have a lot of the friend-foe recognition. It's actually true for both sides. So if there is no recognition between friend and foe, which kind of drone it's flying, then oftentimes it might be like, well, is this our drone that is flying so deep? Maybe, or is it the enemy? We don't know. Maybe just a training center nearby is flying something. So, and that's why having an option for a company that is working specifically to recognize whether it's a friend or foe and then quickly intercept the drone without a lengthy communications chain is super primer for Ukraine. That's why having these enabling technologies is so crucial to save basically life for people that are in training, for example.
And we're back in the studio. Yes. Nothing changed.
Yes.
Cool.
So let's try to be a...
1 second. The dog's not going to stop. Tosia, in. Zaraz. Git. Little terrorist.
I'll keep this as a blooper.
No, Tosia.
No.
You little terror. You can come up from my lap. There you go. Good girl. Okay. Please continue.
And we're back, like nothing ever happened. Don't mind the dog, it's just materialized out of thin air. But what I'm thinking, Richard, is because oftentimes when we talk drones, like you understand drones, because I am in the know, I understand drones. but there is tens and hundreds of thousands of people for whom it's just a common topic. So you have like a big facility here with a lot of the different production and so on. Why don't we, for example, look at some of the things that Russians are producing or you are producing, and then you can kind of run through what it is, what it makes up a drone, what makes drones good, bad.
Would you like to pass me the green one?
The green one, the light green one?
The light green one, yep.
This one?
Perfect.
Yes.
So this is a Russian drone that our friend Igor gave us only a month ago, and it has a battery under here because you can't have it on top because of the propellers, and also a battery on this other side over here that's also strapped down. The reason that it was made like that is because you actually had to have space to be able to fit the batteries, so the propellers are on different sides. This is a very, very unique design. There aren't many people in Ukraine that are building this like single-bodied drone.
It has engines on like one side up, the other side down.
Yeah.
It's definitely different.
Exactly. Very, very different.
And also a servo on here too, which is interesting. So they have some kind of dropping and or detonation method.
Yeah, you can show you see it has like some switches here and so on. So you can actually set something up here. Very interesting. I've never seen anything like this.
And that's the thing, is that there are so many variants being developed by both sides that quite often you can see something once and then never see it again. Because this is just a constant evolving battle of, okay, who can make these things the cheapest, the sturdiest, the best in every single attribute. Yeah. And so people need to try new things, such as this Russian drone. This is one of the things in our museum now.
It's basically like a textilite board, basically, that is very roughly cut out. Like when you touch it, the insides, it's extremely rough. So it was very, very simple, either CNC machine or something that was doing it.
And this was in the Kharkiv direction. One of the cheap new ones that they're trying to make. And this is solely about cost. The reason that they're doing this single plate design is just cutting down the cost, rather than relying on the Chinese carbon fiber, which, will cost 10, 20 bucks more. They're going via this, but clearly didn't work very well.
Well, I mean, didn't work very well, but as we also talked yesterday, that the fact that they can output maybe for every one Ukrainian-produced drone, they can output maybe 5 these ones. I mean, they're bad, yes, but it's still 5 drones in the air, so it's worth talking about. But let's look at something a little bit more towards...
you don't want to see this one.
Yeah. This one we cannot? No, I thought it was.
You can show this one, but I'm saying you don't want to because of how horrible it is.
Yes.
This is what we're fighting against, which is some of the Ukrainian government drones that were actually procured by the government for the front lines, built on the same textilite that you saw from that Russian drone, and you just don't want to do this thing.
And this is basically like we wanted to show off, guys, because oftentimes we hear that, Ukraine has drones, massive amounts of drones. It's like drones. Every grandma has a drone. Even the grandma that used the jar to kick the drone down from the balcony at the start of the war, you might heard the story. She's now saying, fuck the jars, I'm gonna buy myself a drone. But unfortunately, drones come in various shapes and sizes. And price oftentimes is determining cost. And oftentimes the guys on the front line, they get something like this, where it's basically just textilite plates that is very bolted roughly on the bottom. But I mean, it is, and the work here is not perfect on, let's just say.
Yeah, we can we'll focus on the soldering there, but this is worse than I couldn't even describe. Even if it's your first time soldering, you couldn't do something as badly made as this. And unfortunately, this is what the units receive. And then they contact us and they say, Rich, we have this. What do we do with it? Can you help? And we have warehouses in Lviv full to the brim of this kind of stuff, where now they're having to work through every single one of these. So changing the frame over, changing the motors over, and maybe sometimes you can only just save the video transmitter. And you have this whole drone that's been sent to the front that's meant to be helping our guys, and it doesn't. It just causes them more of a headache, because then they have this thing on their books of a drone, which it is not.
Yeah, so this is basically what Rich is fighting against, just going for the price there's the only driving cost, it's not worth it. This is terrible. And is this one of yours?
Yes.
Okay. So, and this
is the one that we were showing off yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
The Ziegler's Pour event. The top is off. That is just solely to show the quality standards of all of the soldering work and all of the components, because it's interesting for people to see. The only difference that you'll have on one that's flying on the front is just a topper board. This has a full detonation system installed. It has the whiskers installed that cause the detonation. And it has
can you, by the way, like for a person that only heard like a drone as a general, and I know he knows that this is probably motors, this is camera, but can you run about the main elements? Because to be honest, there's not as many elements in a regular drone. So can you run us by what is it like in general terms?
Very simply, this top board here is the flight computer. So off of that you have the camera, you have the video transmission here at the back. So camera here up at the front. You have the electronic speed controller underneath that, and that controls all of the motors in terms of how much power is going through to them. On the back here you have the little antenna, and that is for the video transmission, this one here. And then you have the radio transmission here on the back. We have removed the labels on them so that people on the internet don't know the frequencies, because at the moment it's a frequency war on the front lines. So we don't want to give away to the enemy what is going on. And then this is a carbon fiber frame. So not like the Textilite that you saw earlier. This stuff
it's a lot lighter. It's a lot lighter. It's a lot
very, very, very rigid. You can try as hard as you like to break this thing, and it just won't break.
And rigidity is important for drone because when drone flies, it vibrates. So if there is a lot of vibration, the electric motors, they try to compensate for that vibration, and they require a lot of energy to do so, and they overheat oftentimes. So it's very important for the drone to...
Yes, so if there is a flex, the flight computer wonders what's happening. It's saying, why am I in a different position than I think I am? And as you were saying, freaks out, increases, and it can lead to drones falling out of the sky because of just something as simple as the frame. So these things on the front are called the whiskers. When these smack into a building or person, tank, anything, these two things touch together, and it sends a current down this detonation board into here, and here's the detonation board on the front, and that goes to the little detonator in the back of the munition, and it's a very standard RPG-7 shaped charge, which will then direct a flaming hot jet into whatever it needs to destroy.
And this is just this is not a real charge, guys. We're not in danger.
It is a real charge. I just didn't tell him. Okay.
The real charge was in toilet, but let's skip that. Fabulous.
Yeah, so we have had the explosives scooped out of this with a spoon and then very kindly sent to us. It is very helpful when you are designing these things to actually have a proper understanding of what it will be strapped underneath, rather than just strapping a bottle of water, for instance, onto the drone when you're testing these things. So, that is the full drone.
Super. Thank you so much, Richard. I think this was really, really interesting for everyone. Guys, the links to Richard is going to be in the description, the same as where you can go and read for everything else that we mentioned. Final thing, the YouTube things, which we must do, is exchange of the
very, very cool.
You're very welcome. So
and this is on your website, or is this one of the?
This was actually it's a very rare one. It's a patch came from the first campaign that we did with the NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. They actually didn't do a lot of YouTuber campaigns. I'm very proud that we kind of kicked off some of that time with the NAFO 69. They mostly did like the Twitter and so on. And then I reached out and I said like, hey, can we do campaign for YouTube? And they were not sure about it. But then we did it, and it was a great success. And since then, well, obviously, like there was plenty of people that did bigger campaigns than myself, but it was very fantastic that we were able. And these patches are now one of a kind, like first time patches that we did with.
So you can't even make more of these.
No, we're not. I'm not going to make any more of these. No,
I like it. It's very, very cool.
So, thank you so much, guys, for watching.
Дуже дякую, and Slava Ukraini. Героям слава. Дякую.